What's up? Welcome back to Deepish. That's a weird way to start. I listen. I feel like I say the same things every time we start an episode for the intro, and so I'm sorry. But what's up? Hope that you had a wonderful Christmas holiday wherever you are. If you celebrated, if you didn't, I hope you're having a great holiday season wherever you live, wherever this episode may find you. What a way to start. But hope you guys had a great Christmas and hope that you're having fun. Looking forward to New Year's Eve and New Year 2026. That's a startling thing to say. I saw something the other day that said 1990 is as far away as 1955 was in 1990. I think that's right. And that's a startling thing to think about and a startling reality. But that's just where we are in life. We're getting older and life is flying. But you know what? We're not going to get into how fast life is going on this episode. Maybe we will. You never know. But again, hope you had a great Christmas. And hope that, again, you're looking forward to 2026 and more episodes of Deepish because we're not stopping anytime soon. We're going to keep trucking. We're going to keep rolling and putting out episodes. And hope you're enjoying all of our episodes. And I hope you enjoyed our episode last week with my friend Madeline Carter. And if you haven't, make sure you go stream her music. And before we get into today's episode, little housekeeping note, my dad has texted me and he's going to get mad at me for bringing this up. But my dad has texted me after every episode that I mention him in. And so I told him after episode 3 with Maddie that he didn't get mentioned in that episode. I don't think he did. And he said, well, I'll believe it when I see it. But you know what? I told him that if you mention something to me that revolves around the podcast, it's probably getting brought up. And so a little housekeeping note, I received a text message from another friend of mine after episode 2 with Kelly. And on that episode, we talked about life in the 90s and growing up in the 90s and, 90s culture. And this friend of mine texted me and said that I did not grow up in the 90s. And he said, I grew up in the 90s, you did not. And I started thinking about it. And listen, I was born in 1994, so I'm still pretty young. Not that old yet. And so I guess it begs the question, if you were born in the 90s, did you grow up in the 90s? And here's my thing, like I lived, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. I lived 6 years in the 90s, 5.5 years in the 90s. And so those are formative years, 0 to 5, formative years. I remember being alive in the 90s. I remember things happening. And he said, this friend of mine, shout out Brent Jolliker, he said that it proves the point that I did not grow up in the 90s when I said that I wish I could go back and experience NSYNC for the first time in the 90s. And here's my rebuttal to that comment. I grew up in a very strict conservative household. We were, if you're familiar with anything in religion, we were independent Baptists. And if you weren't, let me explain this to you. Independent Baptists in the 90s were the strictest human beings under the face of the earth. And so I wasn't allowed to listen to NSYNC. So that's why I said I want to go back and experience NSYNC for the first time again in the 90s because I wasn't allowed to listen to him until I was like an adult. Then I listened to him. But I do have vivid memories of watching I'll Be Home for Christmas for the first time not long after it came out in the 90s with Jonathan Taylor Thomas and Jessica Biel, shout out both of them, and hearing Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays for the first time. So listen, I guess here's my thing. I want to hear from you. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I didn't grow up in the 90s and I'm a 90s baby who grew up in the early 2000s. Maybe that's the case, but I'm just lumping the early 2000s into the 90s and saying that I grew up in the 90s. So if you think I'm wrong, comment. You can throw shade at me. I don't care. You can send me an email, info@greenhousemedia.com. You can hate on me and tell me that I'm wrong and I grew up in the 2000s and not in the 90s. But in my world, in my brain, this is my podcast. I get to make the rules. I grew up in the 90s. Maybe that's a hateful way to start this episode. My dad also agreed that I did not grow up in the 90s, and he said he was going to text me and tell me that. But he was scared that he was going to end up on another episode of Deepish being talked about. Well, Dad, sorry. You ended up on another episode. So listen, you just never know what you say. It could get brought up in an intro or an outro of an episode or in conversation with a guest. So if you don't want to get brought up, I guess just be careful what you say around me. again, it's my podcast. I kind of get to make the rules of what happens on here. And a lot of times I'm a shit show. And that's why it's called Deep-ish. Again, what do you want me to say? But today we're back for episode 4. Really excited for this conversation. Really excited for you to hear from today's guests. My friend Blaine Fuhs came on the podcast, and we talked through his life, his journey as a creative. He is a creative entrepreneur, started from a young age and started his own video firm, creative firm, and moved out to LA when he was a young adult, and really has built an incredible platform. And just recently wrote a book, and we talk a lot about his book on this episode of the podcast, and kind of the message behind it, how he arrived at the point of wanting to write this book, and a lot of his story. And so a very very thoughtful human being, and I would call him a deep thinker, and just like everything he does, he makes sure there's a purpose behind it, and that it serves the ultimate purpose of who he wants to be as a person. And I think you'll get that in this episode, and understanding the way he talks and how he thinks through life and everything. And so really grateful that he sat down and with me for an episode here. This was the first episode we recorded in the basement here at the new house. We had just moved in not long before, so he came over, sat down, and we recorded an episode here together. And so hope you enjoy this episode. Hope you enjoy hearing from my friend Blaine Fuhs. What's up, everybody? We're back. Another episode of Deep-ish today. I have my friend. He is a creative. He's a business owner, and honestly, Blaine, you do a lot. But Blaine Fuhs, welcome to Deep-ish, man.
Gee, thanks, bro.
I'm so stoked to have you on here. Really, you for a long time. I'm like, I don't really know what Blaine does. To even now, and we'll get into more of the nuts and bolts of some of that. I don't. I also have my Christmas mug. It's we're recording this in August, but
it'll come out on Christmas.
Pretty close. It's Christmas in my spirit, and I'm home from vacation. Tori jokes with people that I have 3 seasons of life, like 3 seasons in a year: Christmas, vacation, and my birthday. And like the rest of the year revolves around anticipating one of those.
To be honest, those are the 3.
Those are the 3. And I love fall and everything, but I'm like, fall's just a gateway to Christmas.
Yeah.
It's like I tell people, Christmas is a season that Thanksgiving fall, because everyone's like, you can't decorate for Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm like, why not? Because here's the way I view it. I love Thanksgiving. It's beautiful. It's a great holiday. But Christmas season starts November 1st, and Thanksgiving is a part of the Christmas season.
Yeah.
You just celebrate.
Yeah, be grateful. Be thankful.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, you really do. You have done and do a lot of different things. And I do want to get in. We will get into more of that. But before we get into that aspect of your life, I want to start all the way back. You grew up in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
You are Indiana born and raised. You're a Hoosier.
Yep.
Shout out Bobby Knight, the late great. Rest in peace. Did you ever follow Indiana basketball as a kid?
No.
You were a soccer kid. So.
Yeah, definitely. Basketball is just like inherently a part of the culture in Indiana. Not something that I was drawn to, but definitely something I was exposed to.
Yeah, you were aware of it.
Yeah.
So, because you grew up in the 90s, right?
96, yeah. So.
You were born in 96?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a little younger than I am.
Yeah.
I don't remember at what point in time, but like it's still a running joke in my family. Because my grandfather was a huge Bobby Knight fan, huge Indiana Hoosiers fan.
Yeah.
Luke Recker was like the first basketball player that I remember loving who played for Indiana.
Yeah.
But there's an interview of Bobby Knight where I think it was like for the tournament or something, and they were like going to Boise, Idaho, and he said Boise effing Idaho, and it was like this. Now it's just this running joke in my family. He's like, it's been 30-something years since he said that. It's for whatever reason.
Yeah, Bobby Knight, Larry Bird. Those are our staples.
Shout out Indiana State.
Nice. I love that you know that,
dude. Absolutely. But I think during COVID they actually showed like his national championship game. Because you remember there was no sports on, like right when COVID started. So ESPN for like 2 weeks, all they did was just reruns of classic games.
So,
And I think I recorded it. It was like,
Larry's the guy.
He really is. Does he still have ownership in the Pacers? Or
I
did
think
he
so.
sell? I think so.
I don't.
Shout out Tyrese Halliburton.
He did do the thing.
He did the thing until he blew his Achilles.
Honestly didn't even know basketball was like we were good, but we did the thing this year.
It was kind of out of nowhere. But let's go back though to growing up in Indiana, your childhood, and because you have become a very successful person in your sphere, and not in just a sphere, but in multiple spheres and in different things that you have done. You've had a lot of success. You've attained a lot of achievements. But go back to childhood. What was it like for you growing up in Indiana in the 90s? And how that then how that played into where you went, what you did in college, and then now in life?
I could probably talk for like an hour on it, so I'll try to keep it
That's great.
brief. But I always say, like, growing up, I always had like a desire to be different. Even before I could.
You wear hoodies in May. We know you're different.
Yeah, right. And again, it really seems crazy, but like, I'm a huge advocate of like every decision of your life is reflective of like who you truly are.
Yeah.
We don't think that seriously at times, but it's like what watch you wear, what rings you wear, what clothes you wear, what car you drive. Like, not in a luxurious way, but just in like, there is a reason behind your decision. And like, are you aware of why you're making it? And so, like, since I was really early on, I had that kind of mindset really ingrained into just who I was. And so, wanted to be different growing up. I say in my book, but, chapter 2 is called To Be Different. I kind of briefly talk on just what kind of set the stage for it. But everyone I went to school with wore blue jeans, so I wore black skinny jeans. Everyone played basketball, so I was like, what's the opposite of basketball? Play soccer. And, as a result of like just being different, is that I was outcasted.
Really?
I didn't have any friends growing up. My only friends were my 2 neighbors, but beyond that, like, I didn't have any friends. And, I say often is that, the moment you begin to make decisions that contrast with the world around you, like, you'll experience pushback. It's not a thing that's uncommon. We see that even through adulthood. But I experienced that early on, and I'll kind of say it, but one day when I was at recess, I think I was first grade, didn't have anyone that would play with me, and I would take a basketball and kick it against the sidewalk curb, just to like play. And the best basketball players came over, pushed me down, and they towered above me, and they said this phrase that seems insignificant, but has echoed in my heart for years. Was that you'll never be good enough. And I can't remember exactly how old you are in first grade, but I remember going home being furious. And I made a decision that I was going to be the best soccer player I could be, to prove them wrong. And so I started training and working and pushing myself. And, again, like I said, fast forward a couple years later, I made the Olympic development team for Indiana. And it was in that season of my life that I basically realized, like, you reached a dream, but you reached a dream in the wrong pursuit, like with the wrong intention.
Wow.
And that's a huge predicator of why I've been able to fast track the lessons I've learned in life, was just because I experienced them pretty young. So like I say, most people at 13 don't reach a dream. Most people their entire lives don't reach a dream. And so because I did, I got to this place that I thought I would find fulfillment, but what I was met with was a void that was inescapable. And
jeez, dude.
So
at 13, that to have that experience I mean, dude, you're not even really a teenager at 13. You're a preteen. So to be a kid who's told you're never going to be good enough, that's embedded in your brain. And then at 13, to have proved that you're good enough, but realize that this dream's kind of not pointless, but it doesn't satisfy the desire, like this deep desire that was in you.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
I mean, we could go in on that for a little bit, but
Yeah.
continue. Sorry. That's insane to me that at 13 you experienced, I think as humans, those are probably two of the biggest lessons. Or,
Mm.
I don't know, lessons is the right word, but two of the biggest things I think we encounter is somewhere along the lines we all feel I'm not good enough.
Mhm.
Whether someone specifically tells you like or you don't attain, or it's because you don't attain a dream.
Mhm.
A lot of people die facing those two battles.
Mhm. Absolutely. And that's what, like, I mean, I posted it on the books TikTok
Yeah.
today or yesterday. But it was like Jim Carrey said a similar bit where he's
Mhm.
like, I wish that people would experience and achieve all of their wildest dreams
Yep.
just to realize that, like, that is not the place that you'll find fulfillment. And, again, I experienced that early on. And it seems crazy, but, I think spiritually,
Mhm.
and, if we want to.
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
spiritually,
yeah, you're good.
It's like I look at the life of Jesus,
Mhm.
and if you were to ask, like, what was one clear moment that
Yeah.
he knew the purpose of his life, it was at 12.
Yep.
Like that was when he like went to the temple, and that was the moment. It was like, hey, like this is
Mhm.
the purpose of my life. Like we know without question that was when he knew.
Yep.
So why couldn't we, at a similar age,
Yeah.
know that that's the purpose of our life?
Yeah.
So anyway, 13, I got there and just realized this wasn't it. And so a question that I then pivoted to was, well, what is?
Wow.
Like what
Yeah.
could be the thing that would achieve fulfillment for me?
Mhm.
And I looked at some of the most impactful people I've learned and read about, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther, Mother Teresa, just like people that have found what I would assume is a fulfilled life.
Mhm.
In all of them, the common theme was love.
Okay.
And so then I was like, who did that the best?
Uh-huh.
And I think all roads for me led to this character named Jesus.
Yeah.
And so at 13, I was like, well, I'm going to try to live a life that reflects him. And so that was when I made the decision.
Yeah.
And I reflected on soccer. And although this is a little controversial, but I didn't enjoy soccer, never cared for soccer. But that was the platform that allowed me to reach the most people.
Yeah.
And for anyone like listening, where you're at, you may not enjoy. Like it may not be
Yeah.
the thing that you find excitement towards and passion towards, but it could be the place where you will have the greatest impact.
Wow.
And that's where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
But we chase, feel happy, feel excited. And it's like, okay, at times, sure, it's important.
Yeah.
But that's maybe not the point.
Yep.
So anyways, soccer was the platform at the time. But in my heart, I knew there'd be a bigger platform.
Yeah. Because you didn't give soccer up at 13.
No.
You continued on into college.
Yep.
So like then talk a little bit then about that time from 13 you realize, okay, I achieved what I thought what I wanted. It didn't fulfill what I thought I wanted. To you then play in college.
Mhm.
Talk a little bit about what kept you going in that path, even though you realize like I'm never gonna actually be fully fulfilled doing this.
Yeah. Because in just like a hindsight perspective, it still allowed me to impact.
Yeah.
So I knew it wasn't where I was going to be forever, but it
Mhm.
still allowed me to go places I would have never been, reach people I would have never met, and impact lives that if I was not playing soccer would not have been my reality.
Wow. Okay.
And so, and I think, and this is just my personal opinion, you can have two platforms.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be one.
Yep.
And so even though I knew soccer wasn't the indefinite future, it was the platform during that season of my life. But I began to look for the next one.
Yeah.
And a company by the name of GoPro came out. I fell in love with their mission statement.
Yeah.
That anyone can be a hero. Everyone deserves to go pro.
Dang.
And I was like, you know what? Like, I think at GoPro, I can have the biggest impact. And so I looked up how to become the head of content at GoPro. And it was like a 7 years experience in video and then a bachelor degree in graphic design. So at 14, I decided I will just start my own video business. Because even if it's not legitimate, by the time I graduated college, I'd have the degree and I could go to GoPro. And so at 14, I started the video business while playing soccer. And again, with no real intention, but preparing for the next chapter. And so
that's wild, bro. At 14.
Yeah.
GoPro, shout out GoPro.
Yeah, I mean, pinnacle. And I mean, like,
For real.
there's so many lessons I learned on that journey, but
Yeah.
I'll say just like the one biggest one, and I've said it before, but you set a projection of where you think you're supposed to go. And along that journey, I believe God will take you where he needs you to be. And it was never GoPro.
Yeah.
But GoPro was kind of like where I thought I could have the greatest impact.
Yeah.
And it led me to where I would actually have the greatest impact. But we need that projection of the future.
Yep.
So anyway, that's what started the video business. And then at 16 it became full-time. And so
you were doing video full-time at 16.
Yeah. So I won't get into the details. I do talk about it a little bit in the book, but first year I made $4,000 doing real estate drone video in Southern Indiana for farmers. The next year I made $2,000. I was like, oh, this isn't going to go very well.
Yeah.
But at 16, construction company called, and at the time I was charging $200 per video.
Okay.
At 16, a construction company called, and they were basically like, hey, how much would you charge if we flew you to Arkansas, Missouri, and Tennessee to do a drone video? And I was like, well, I guess 200 a day, so 600 total. But since are you guys paying for everything? And they're like, yeah. It's like, well, I guess I'll charge $600, I would charge 600, but since you're paying everything, I'll charge 200. And they're like, hey, the CEO came on the phone. He's like, hey, we talked about it, and we didn't know if there'd be any way you'd be willing to do it for 2,000. And I was like, whoa. And so at that moment, it was a marker in my story that I knew that I could do this.
Yeah.
And I could probably do it at a level I wasn't anticipating. But more so, what I always say is that individual, his name's Tony, with Graver Construction, he had an opportunity to do what the world would suggest, which is get a discount, make more profit.
Yeah.
But instead he chose to impact.
Yep.
And that one singular decision that he made instilled value that allowed me to go and impact millions. And so I always say, just like for the audience or anyone that I speak to, often we walk into a room and we're waiting for someone to do that to us. But really it could be your responsibility.
Yeah. Right.
And so it's just like, man, like who in your life is waiting for you to speak life to them, speak value into them, to say, hey, like this podcast is worth pursuing, that this book is worth writing, that this business is worth starting.
Yeah.
Because so many people are looking for the sign, and it could be you.
Yeah. And I think I like how you flipped the script on that a little, where we often are waiting for someone to tell us, when a lot of times we're the one who needs to tell someone else. And I think that's like a life principle as well. As like, I've always like felt that if there are days where I need encouragement, okay, I need to reach out to someone, because a lot of, and that's just like a little thing, but it's like a lot of times what we feel we need most is actually a sign that we need to give it more than we need it.
Yeah.
And so, I just think no matter where you are in life and what you're doing, that is such a deep-seated reality and principle that we could live by, of no matter what's happening, you can still have an impact. And that's kind of been the theme of everything you're saying. Is like you learned at a young age of like, no matter what I'm doing, I want to impact people. And it's looked different in different seasons. Your assignment has looked a little different of how that's come to fruition. But a lot of it really started with a CEO saying, hey, you offered to do it for $200 for 3 days of video. I mean, what year was that? Like 2010-ish, give or take?
Yeah, I don't know. I was 16.
So 2012 maybe?
Yeah.
So you're a sophomore in high school?
Yeah.
Doing video full time.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, I'll do it for $200. Bro, if somebody offered to do a video for me for $200 right now for 3 days, I'm like, done.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
which not great. But
100%.
But so for this guy to come on and say, hey, nah, like we love you. We love like what you're doing. We'll pay you more than you're asking for. And that started a trajectory for you of, now, I mean, you look back 13 years later at what you've accomplished. I think it just is a testament to no matter where you are in life, no matter what you're doing, you have the ability to help people more than you realize.
Yeah.
you know?
hmm Yeah, I think I don't know. I think that's my whole mission.
Yeah.
Is to make people believe that.
Yeah.
Because we don't. In the beginning
Sure.
of my book, the preface, I wrote with my buddy Nick, just this like honest statement to the reader. And I titled it "If You Read Nothing Else," because I know in today's world, like, attention's very hard to capture.
Yeah.
But so, like, with my book, like, every layer of it was
Yeah.
very thoughtful. Like, if you go no further than the cover,
Mhm.
like, I hope that reading that your platform is not your purpose
Yep.
is exactly what you needed to hear.
Mhm.
That the subline, if you dedicate your life to being good, greatness will chase you, is exactly what you need to hear. If you go no further than the dedication, that the words in that would impact you.
Yeah.
But after you pursue through that, when you get to there's before the preface, I say, if you read nothing else,
Mhm.
and in it I say, I even if you believe it yet or not,
Yep.
that the world needs you.
Yeah.
I know you've experienced people that don't. Right? I know you've experienced like parents that are absent, bosses who lack empathy, friends who treat moments like transactions.
Mhm.
And so, like, before we go any further, like, I want you to believe that the world needs you. And even though you've experienced people who don't believe that,
Mhm.
like, that's not your truth. Like, that's not your story.
Wow.
And again, it doesn't require a stage. It doesn't require an audience. It doesn't require being known.
Yeah.
There's so many chapters in this book where it's like there's incredible people who have gone unknown,
Mhm.
that have done incredible impact,
Mhm.
and it does not diminish their value.
Yeah.
I think it's even for me, like, that's kind of the life I seek,
Yeah.
is like doing things at a high level,
Mhm.
but making decisions that contrast the world, and like trying not to get recognition, trying not
Yeah.
to be known for it.
Yeah.
Just because, again, I think that's the life we were created to live.
Yeah.
But
Well, I want to let's go a little deeper on something.
Yep.
Because you talk about, so you start soccer because you're told you're never going to be good enough. You chase that dream for 6, 7 years. You attain it.
Mhm.
I'm good enough. Realize this isn't it. Then spend 3 years starting a career from 14.
Mhm.
Start a career of, because you had a dream,
Mhm.
a new dream. And how much, though, of that early process of starting as a filmmaker and trying to essentially attain a dream of being the creative director, was creative director at GoPro,
head of content.
head of content at
Yeah.
GoPro. So how much of that early stage of 14 to 16 to 18, you're still playing soccer. How much of that, those kids in first grade still was in the back of your head?
I think none of it actually after that point.
Really?
At 13, it was pivotal. Like
Yeah.
13, like that 13 was like the clear divide to say, like, I'm no longer living for the world.
Yeah.
Like, I'm living for impact. And so at that point, like,
Yeah.
no anger, no judgment, purely living a life with clear direction on loving everyone I can come in contact with.
Really?
And there's no looking back. And even today, like, I think that's the constant, like, north star
Mhm.
for me in my life,
Yeah.
is like, do you love people? In a
Yep.
good audit. And again, I hate to admit, some of the closest to me probably wouldn't say this, but like, this is like a audit, is like, the people closest to you, would
Mhm.
they say that, like, you reflect love?
Yeah.
And it's like, dang, like, if not,
Yep.
like, we're not hitting the mark.
Yeah.
But that should be the pursuit.
Yeah.
That everyone closest to you, furthest from you,
Mhm.
like, feels love, experiences joy. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's tough to obtain that throughout a lifetime.
Yeah.
But that is the fight worth pursuing.
Right. So you start video full time at 16.
Yep.
And you still do soccer.
Yeah. So
Okay.
at the end of that year, I started charging $2,000 for everything.
Yeah.
Made 40 grand that year at 16. And that was where I was like,
Gary V would be very proud of you.
yeah.
Wherever
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah. Shout out Gary, Andy, Sophie.
Have
Yeah,
you ever met Gary?
not Gary, but his team.
Okay.
Like Andy and Sophie. I
Yeah.
met them a couple years ago.
Dang.
But
That's sick.
yeah, like, you know, I started doing that in a 16, making the 40K. I was like, okay, this could be a thing.
Yeah.
So then my focus shifted to video.
Okay.
So the same dedication I pursued for
Mhm.
soccer, for
Mhm.
being whatever I do, I
Yeah.
want to do it to its completion.
Yep.
Like I want to make sure that like I actually did it the best I could, for the right reason.
Okay.
Like I think there's a clear difference there.
Yep.
To being like the best you can for your own glory
Yeah.
versus being the best you can to impact the most you can.
Yep.
And so that's where it's like, dude, I want to be the fastest, the strongest, because for soccer, if you're good, more people will pay attention to you.
Yeah.
And so I was like, dude, I want to be the best soccer player.
Yep.
So that like people are like, yo, he's scoring goals, he's doing this, he's winning games,
Yeah.
but like he's like the nicest dude.
Yep.
You know, and like he's like not this, not that, you know?
He's not the stereotype.
No.
Yeah.
It's like very rarely do we see in the world the best be the most genuine,
Yeah.
you know? And it's like we should.
Yeah.
Like
I agree.
like Christians, this is maybe not Christians, maybe people that believe in Jesus, that live a life dedicated to Jesus,
Yeah.
should be the most creative, should be the most talented, should be the most successful, right? But like,
Well, and the reality is there's going to be a lot of people that listen to this that have encountered the exact opposite with Christians.
yeah. Well, honestly,
And
Erwin McManus, who I'm just like an echo chamber of,
yeah.
he said it once where it's like, I'm gonna misquote him, but like the reason like bad people win so often is because they do not ask for permission to do what they know they need to,
Mhm.
but good people delay
Really?
an idea
Yeah.
that they have because they got to pray about it, they got to think about it, they got to talk about it, you know?
Dude, I had that conversation a couple weeks ago on the podcast with Kelly Robertson.
Yeah. What a
And
dog. Kelly's the best.
he's just a
Sick.
beautiful human. But he was talking about when he started in ministry, he interviewed at a place, and he was like, they were like, we want you like go home and pray about it. And they were like, and I'm like, how insane is it that is just like the default answer of Christians? And like this is a niche conversation a little bit because I understand that like we're not just like, this podcast is not just like a Christian podcast reaching a Christian audience.
Sure.
So like this doesn't apply to everybody.
Yeah.
But like it is a wild thing, to your point, of the natural response of like,
yeah,
it's like, okay, is that just an excuse?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a delay for you to process, to find a no.
Bro, no, that's a fact. That is an absolute fact. If you're watching this and you are someone who says I'm going to pray about it, and the reason you say you're going to pray about it is just because you want to say no, stop it.
Yeah.
Just quit being that way.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's insane that like that is so true. But so let's switch gears. Sorry, we just closed on this house a few weeks ago, and my
Yeah.
realtor.
Oh, yeah.
My realtor just called me, and I'm like, what now? Because selling our old house, and that's, I don't need to talk about that on the podcast. And I'm like, I just was like, what do you?
Yeah.
So,
what's
anyways,
the
I want to keep talking though about that shift that you went through. 16, you go full time, still playing soccer,
Mhm.
full time. Then you raise your rates of what you're charging,
Mhm.
and then you can like talk. Let's jump a little bit into more of how you were able to do full time video in college and play college soccer, and go a little bit into that.
Yep.
That dynamic, because I want to get into more of what came after that, but I think that had a big role of who you are, and so I just want to let's touch on that a little bit.
Yeah. I say simple sentence. You have more time than you act like you don't. You have more time than
Yeah,
you pretend that you don't.
yeah,
Don't know if that's wording right, but what I mean by that is like a lot of times people find excuses. It's like, oh, if I had time,
Yep.
then I would.
Dude, you know one of my biggest pet peeves in life?
Yeah.
Is when people say they're just so busy.
Yeah.
I remember, no, like
Elon Musk, yes.
all right, so here, this is like, God honest truth. So, and if this is offensive to people, I'm sorry. Like maybe you should be offended by this. But I remember several years ago, or a few years ago, I had a friend. I was like, yo, we haven't hung out in a while. Let's hang out. Like, get our spouses together. Let's hang out. We haven't done it in a while. We're just so busy. Like, we'll talk about our calendar and schedule. Like, we'll get something scheduled. And I was like, yo, what? I remember talking to Tori after that. I'm like, okay, my best friend in Florida, he works 20-hour days. Like, dead ass, dude works 20-hour days. If I called him right now, I'd have to call him twice because his phone is perpetually on Do Not Disturb. Yeah. Evan, take your phone off Do Not Disturb, asshole. Yeah. But if I called him though,
I get it.
He's picking up the phone, and we're gonna and he's there for me. So like, on your point of like, you're not as busy as you think you are. If it matters, you have time. And that's when that was the moment for me where I was just like, if someone, because like at that time in my life, I was always like, I'm so busy. And I wore like a badge. All that meant to me was that I don't have time for you. It's kind of the like, let me pray about it. It's like a delayed no.
Yeah.
It's in that sense, I'm like, no, I'm just going to shift who I am as a human. I'm like, hey, you know what? Yep, a lot of things are going on, but I would love to make time for you. Because I think it then goes to your deeper point that you've been talking about. Like, we were born and we're created to impact people, no matter what you believe, no matter what you're doing in life. Like, you can impact humans. And I think that is like the overarching goal of life. You take belief system out of it, is having an impact on people, a positive impact on people. And I just think like using schedule as a excuse for it. It's like, what dream are you putting off because you think you don't have time?
Yeah. I think busyness is an excuse for inefficiency. So if you
Yikes.
Yeah, if you're really too busy, you're probably not as efficient, or you haven't put the right structures in place to prioritize the things that are valuable. And for me, this is again, I think one of my favorite chapters in my book, chapter 8, but it's called How to Become Rich.
Yeah.
And I'm basically drawing a conclusion between the world's economy and God's economy.
Okay.
And I'm like, in today's age, like the currency we value is money.
Yeah.
And we dedicate our whole lives to getting more of it.
Yep.
But, why is it that $1 million at 20 and $1 million at 80 don't have the same weight? Because it's the same dollar amount.
Yeah.
But the value has escaped us.
Yeah.
Right? Well, the reality is like you can live a whole life chasing money and you will get it.
Yeah.
But again, you'll still fill a void. And this shift is like, well, what if, like, if there was a God?
Yeah.
It's like I rarely talk about God in the book. I
Yeah.
talk about him. This is like the first time I bring him up, and then I bring him up in the last chapter.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, what is like the currency of God's economy?
Okay.
Like, what does that look like? Like, if you were to ask what God values, what would it be?
Yeah.
And the currency of God's economy is people. And a good reflection is to ask ourselves, if we woke up today and pursued people the same way that we have pursued money, what version of ourselves would come to fruition? Probably the best version of you.
Yeah, sure.
And the way I end that chapter, and it's just a way I try to view my life, is like, so often we look at our bank account and it measures the amount of money that we've stored up.
Yeah.
But if your bank account measured the number of lives that you have impacted today, what would that number be? Directly or indirectly? Have you impacted 1,000 people? 10,000? 1 million? That's the bank account I want to grow.
Yeah.
And often your busy schedule is structured around getting more money, but not creating more impact.
Yeah.
And if it was created around impact, you would say yes to things that you would say no to if money was your focus. So it's just a good question to be like, hey, of your schedule, that it's so busy, how many of those things are actually for impact? Yeah. Or are they for,
just like, why are you doing what you're doing? I think that is I think in a big sense, that's kind of what you're, in a sense, like what you are doing with your life now is helping people ask that question. Like, what's your motivation? What is the reason? And for you, you've arrived at impacting people, and I want to encourage and help people realize they can impact.
Yep.
And I think even on a different note, but same coin, you're impacting people whether you realize it or not.
Mhm.
And I think you've said that in some regards, not specifically, but like you are impacting people, whether you know it or not. What type of impact are you leaving? And I think, and you and I talked for a while before we started recording today about that, kind of in a nutshell. Like when you walk into a room, how do people feel about you? When you leave a room, how do people feel about you?
Mhm.
And I think what is incredible to me about you as a human is you have an infectious personality. And in fact, like I don't even know if personality is the right word, but like when you come into rooms, like you and I, went to the same church for a while, and I was leading a team that you were on, and it's like when you showed up, you never had a bad attitude.
Mhm.
Everyone loved to be around you because you knew that like I can help and like you were always in a deep conversation with someone.
Mhm.
And it was guaranteed probably someone you did not know.
Yeah.
But it was someone who you could tell needed it. And I think that if there's anything that people can take from this episode is like is like learning that what's driven you for the last 15 years, give or
Mhm.
take,
Mhm.
is how you interact with humans
Mhm.
and how you leave people feeling at the end of the day.
Yeah. I'll say this just to like be very clear. It is a decision.
Yeah.
Like it is a decision that you have to make.
Mm-hmm.
Like can very clearly say that was days,
Yeah.
going to church that I think every single day I want to be like stoked.
No, dude.
You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, but I think though the thing with you is you're not faking it.
Yeah.
And I think that is to your point of like I think sometimes in life, like when we don't feel it, we think we have to fake it. But when it becomes part of who you are, and like you said, you make a decision every day. I don't think it's faking it. I just think it's realizing of like, I don't have it in me, but I'm gonna find it.
Yeah. I think the way I kind of internalize it is
Mhm.
like every time I go outside, it's a game time.
Yep.
Like, hey,
Yeah.
like if you are seen in any
That's your new
facet,
soccer field.
yeah, it's your platform.
Yeah, right.
You know, I'm like, dude, I
Yeah.
will like me personally, just a personal rule of thumb. I do not go out in public if I cannot impact.
Wow.
And so like a personal rule is like if you're having a bad day, have a bad day at home.
Dang.
Like if I can't
Yeah.
evoke joy and have like
Yeah.
love everywhere,
Yeah.
like in how I speak and how I show up, then I'm not gonna go out
Dang.
because it's more negative for me
Mhm.
to hurt someone
Yeah.
than to just have a normal day.
Wow.
And so I'm like, hey, like I would rather stay at home,
Mhm.
recharge, figure it out.
Mhm.
You go outside, lock that down.
Yeah.
Like you didn't. It's not like it's not fake. It's
Yeah.
against a choice to like not misrepresent the
Mhm.
core of your life.
Yeah.
And so like anytime someone sees me, like I want them to be like, wow, Blaine's always this way, always that way.
Yeah.
The consistency comes from being deliberate in private.
Yeah.
You know, like I am deliberate with how I recharge and refocus so that
Mhm.
basically privately, I make decisions
Yeah.
so that publicly I can do the impact that I have to.
No, I think that's a really good life principle and practice for everybody. So let's shift a little. Let's talk about the transition from you, soccer player in college. Still, you never stopped doing video, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When did you move to LA? Like
So
what? Yeah, start there. When
No.
did you move to LA?
Basically going into my sophomore year of college, we had probably about 20 guys on our video team.
Mm-hmm.
And
Whoa. Sophomore year of college, you already built your business to 20 guys doing video.
yeah.
What?
Yeah, it happened pretty quickly.
Dude, I'm sorry. That's insane.
Yeah, a lot of it was contractor basis.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Having 20 people working for you as a sophomore in college when you started your business at 14.
Yeah. Well, and
Jeez.
I guess kind of go back on the previous question. Like,
Yeah.
my typical schedule was we had training at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
every day typically.
Yeah.
So I would wake up at 4 a.m., have my quiet time from like 4 to 4:30.
Okay.
Head over to the cottage is what it was called,
Yeah.
which is our athletic room. Get ready for training 5 a.m. to like 7 a.m. I would train, get lunch, do rehab, go to class like 8 to 11. And then after that, typically my evenings were open for either training or work. And so that's when I started to do, the business.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm a big advocate to be like, you still have time.
Yeah.
Even then I'd still have time to like do what is required of me. But yeah, so we started to grow the team. And at that time we were doing all things video, and it was just Fuhs Video.
Yeah.
It was just one entity. But I won't go into this on the podcast because it's a long story. But basically, going into my sophomore year,
Yeah.
I felt sophomore and junior year, I can't remember. I just felt like I was supposed to leave everything and move to LA. And
During school.
yeah.
Okay.
And so a multitude of things kind of occurred around that time, but it was just pretty evident that I was supposed to do that.
Okay.
Just like the longing. And so I wanted to ignore it, but I ended up writing down the date. And it's the last chapter of my book that I think's like the one that really hits people. So I don't want to spoil it. You guys can grab a copy if you want.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk a little more about the book.
But basically, I hired on 2 people to run the business. We split it into 2. So we had a production company and then a wedding company. And then I moved to LA. So don't know what year that was, but I basically stepped down from operations, if you will,
Okay.
and moved to LA to impact. I think the one difference is during my time in LA, most people moved there to pursue a dream.
Yeah.
Same thing. Like they're like, oh, I want to be the best of this. I want to be the whatever, known for that. I just went out there because that's where I felt like I was called to.
Yeah.
I mean, things happened pretty quickly.
Yeah.
From an impact standpoint,
Yeah.
that verified that for me. That was like, wow, like this is where you're supposed to be. And during my time in LA, that was always at the core of what I was making decisions about. It was very centered around impact and loving people. And I think that was in contrast to what most people valued in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Like most people are like trying to get network and stuff.
What was the first? So you move out. You in between sophomore and junior year, you give up. Not give up. That's not the right word.
Step down.
You step away from soccer.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I'm gonna go to LA. Did you have? And I'm sorry if you already addressed this, but did you have any connections there at all when you went out there?
No. So ironically, around the same time, a watch company by the name of Movement, MVMT.
Yeah. Oh, I remember. Yeah.
So they were really accelerating their business at the time. And I reached out to do a video for their New Year's Eve party.
Okay.
I did that and posted it. And from that came a lot of influx of people that wanted to work with me.
Yeah.
And do life with me eventually. But yeah, I didn't know anyone out there in LA. But from that video, I met some good friends, that would be clients and friends.
That's crazy. Sorry, we had a brief little pause.
Commercial break.
Little commercial break. We'll insert a little something there. Talk about it. But yeah, so we were talking about LA.
Yeah.
When you moved out there, and you weren't connected when you moved out there, but when you get there, you meet some people.
Yeah.
You get connected. What was I want to talk a little about your accolades. Because I think it speaks to who you are as a human. Because we talked about this before we started, but your accolades speak volumes to who you are as a human being. Because you don't let that define you at all, and you have accomplished a lot, dude. Like even the fact is, as a sophomore in college, you've got 20 people working for your business is incredible. So like when you moved to LA, and I imagine, although you're established as a creative and you have a creative agency and you're producing and making video, the jump to LA is big. And you kind of said that, like, but I think what set you apart when you did that was like, you weren't going there chasing a dream. Like you were you what, 20 maybe when you moved out there? If that
I don't
even?
know. Yeah.
So you moved out there as a young, like You're not legal, probably, give or take.
Yeah. I don't know,
And
probably
so,
not,
like,
yeah.
but you're very established in your identity as a human being
Mm-hmm.
and in your purpose in life. So you're not going out there trying to accomplish, to achieve. You're going out there to basically just create because of the environment you're in. Because I imagine, creatively speaking, LA's a little different than Indiana.
Sure.
So, like, what was the moment for you when you go out there where you get a client, you get a gig, whatever it is, where you go, oh, like, this is kind of crazy?
Mm-hmm. I think, I mean, yeah, like, I guess, like, 3 things just to, like, spit off the
Yeah.
rim. I always say LA, yeah, it's a very dark place.
Sure.
And if you go there and do not know who you are,
Yep.
then the world will tell you
Yep.
who they think you are.
I think it's very real.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
any city.
Yep.
Like, if you move anywhere and
Nashville's like that now too.
sure. I
Yeah.
mean, any place, even if it's not a big
Yeah.
city, if you don't know who you are, the
Yeah.
people that you find yourself around will identify with
Yeah.
who they think you should be.
I think that's the natural human case.
Yeah.
In some ways.
Yeah, and that's what I think, like, going back into our conversation in the kitchen, like, when you're on mission, you will inherently become unique.
Yeah.
And I had clear direction to the mission of my life.
Yep.
And the result of that was I was unique. You know, I stood out. I talked different.
Yeah.
I had different goals.
Yeah.
My goals were not rooted in money. My goals were not rooted in fame. My goals were rooted in love.
Yeah.
And I think that played a huge role into just who I was, and I think who people perceive me to be
Yeah.
during my time out there. And again, it opened up opportunity for me to then do other things. But I think, like, biggest cultural difference is just, I think, again, I'll preface this and say, I have this, like, ant analogy, like insect analogy.
Yeah.
Where, and again, not to bring God into it, but, like, it's really hard for humans to imagine anything more complex than us, because we are the most dynamic creature we've ever experienced.
Yeah.
So
Right.
for us to, like, fathom the idea of God is really tough.
Yeah.
And so I kind of boil it down to what we can comprehend.
Okay.
And so as a human, you and I sitting here, if we were sitting here talking and I said, hey, Jake, like, this has been great and all, like, the last 30 years of our life.
Yeah.
But I think I want to change from a human into an ant.
Okay.
And, like, I want to go crawl outside into, like, the ant colony.
Yeah.
And I want to tell these ants of a world they could never imagine. Like, I want to tell them about the iPhone.
Yeah.
I want to tell them about Tesla. I want to
Shout
tell them
out
about the
Steve Jobs.
internet. Yeah. I want to tell them about
Bill Gates.
all these things that
Yeah.
we have come to think as standard.
Yeah. Just our normal
life.
Yeah.
But to an ant,
Mm-hmm.
they'd be like, what?
What are you doing?
Like, what is internet?
You all kill me.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just like, it is so beyond their reality that they could not fathom.
Yeah.
They could not fathom a car. They could not fathom a phone. They could not
No.
fathom electricity, right? And so I think for me, when I look at humans in comparison to ants,
Yeah.
as humans, we do not concern ourselves with the most wealthy ant.
Yeah.
Like an ant that has stored up
Mm-hmm.
tons of food,
Mm-hmm.
we do not care.
Yeah.
The most popular ant, we do not care.
Yeah.
We do not care what time the Justin Bieber ant's performing or what time the
Yeah.
Kanye ant is singing. Like,
Shout-
anyone.
Yeah. Right.
Because they're ants.
Yeah.
And so, in the most, like, rudimentary symbolism,
Mm-hmm.
it's like the highest ant is still an ant.
Yeah.
And so I think in the terms of humanity,
Yeah.
the most impressive human is a human.
When I do think that is, you bring up a really good point. That is one of, I think, the hardest parts of our culture that I suspect. Now, granted, I'm not a person of notoriety or fame in any regards.
Sure.
But our ability to remove a person's humanity because they are a person of notoriety.
Yeah.
I think is one of the worst parts of our human culture.
Yeah.
Where we do not allow a person who is a human like us to be human.
Yeah.
Because, like, how often do you hear where it's like, and maybe some of it was like the culture I grew up in, growing up in a Christian bubble culture in West Virginia.
Yep.
But like, how often did some like I remember when Tiger Woods, I've had everything happen, and like it found out that he'd had affairs and
Mhm.
stuff, and I remember being like disappointed
Mhm.
because it was the culture that I grew up in, where I
Mhm.
was like, now as an adult, I look and I go, hey, you know what? Like the guy made bad decisions, but he's human. He made mistakes.
Mhm.
Like, and I think it's just such as a thing to me that as an adult now and being able to recognize the fact that I'm human and I make mistakes,
Mhm.
that drives me crazy that we don't afford people the opportunity to be human and make mistakes.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Well, and I think it doesn't big picture
Yeah.
really matter.
No.
And so
Well, it's like that sometimes like there are things that like people do that are harmful.
Sure.
And that matter. But there's a lot of things that we get so worked up about, whether it's someone that's famous or whether it's someone that we know, where we get so worked up about, I can't believe they did this. And it's like, at the end of the day,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Like, let's like, and I think this all kind of comes full circle back to what we talked about earlier, of like loving human beings, like loving people for who they are and what they are. Like, not, I do think we can easily love people for their potential, not for who they are.
Mhm.
And so the basis of my love for you is not rooted in I love you as you are, but I love you for what I see you can be.
Mhm.
I don't know that there's anything more detrimental,
Mhm.
because my love is based on potential, not on practical.
Mhm.
And it's not that you don't want people to reach their potential as a human, but like, if I only love you because I see what you can be, is my love valid?
Mhm. Mhm. I mean, dude, I think it's on a simple level,
Yeah.
like to love is just like to give a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dude, like they don't,
Yeah.
nothing in exchange.
Uh-huh.
It's like, hey, like,
I
love your,
expect nothing else out of it.
no, it's like, love your mullet, sick. You
Yeah.
know, like that's
Right.
why, like, a lot of times, like
Yep.
on Sundays, like, I position myself into places of high traffic so I
Yeah.
can compliment as many people.
Yeah. Well, because you never know. Like, they probably won't receive a compliment or may not receive
Sure.
a compliment that day.
Yeah, we have no idea what
What
that does.
I think though that is a beautiful picture of love, to like you said, as like, I think of it in terms of as a friend too. I'm not your friend because of what it affords me.
Mhm.
And I'm not friends with anybody because of what I can gain or what I can receive.
Mhm.
It's just not who I am as a human being.
Yeah.
It's not the way I'm wired. And I think that is then love as well, of I'm not going to express love to you because of what I can get. And I think that is part of learning how to love people well, is love inherently is selfless. It's not um receiving.
Mhm.
And like, when you learn that, it changes the way you receive love, because you're not, I think sometimes as human beings we can struggle to love people because we don't feel loved.
Yeah.
Rather than expressing love and then like receiving it, sick. I'm very grateful.
Mhm.
You know?
Mhm. Yeah, I think I always struggle just like with people aware, unaware that they have ulterior motives
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to friendships
Yeah.
or like business. It's like I've experienced it recently in a couple circumstances where I was like, man, like I don't even think they realized what they were doing,
Mm.
but like I don't think they cared about me at all. Like I think like the whole,
And you can sense it too.
it's like you just see their focus shift where it's like,
Mhm.
like I've seen it even in my career where it's like I had friends in LA that
Yeah.
I thought were really good friends. And then it was like, oh, they were just trying to get to that person. And then when they got to that person,
Yep.
like you don't hear from them as much, and then you don't hear from them at
That's
all.
something I think that you're not prepared for as an adult, is friends that are only friends with you because of proximity. And then no one prepares you to lose friends.
Yeah.
It's hard, dude. I've gone through it. I've lost friends that claim to be best friends.
Yeah.
Nothing prepares you for that.
Yeah, it's just tough. I mean, anything that's new is hard to navigate.
Yep. You're right.
And so, at any age, like I think that's something kind of on a different topic, but like even I'm like learning with my family where, we've heard it before. It's like, oh, it's our parents' first time living.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, those are things that in my current season of life, I'm like, oh dang, like
Yep.
the world is changing,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, like everyone is experiencing what they're experiencing for the first time.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, dang, like, that's not something you think about with your parents.
No, you don't, because your parents are like, they're in a sense your guidepost.
Yeah.
Like they are the ones you look to of like, they have the answers no matter what age you are. Like, and if you don't have that, like, I hate that for you. But like for me, like I literally talk to my dad, if not every day, 5 out of 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And like one of my best friends just lost his dad.
Mhm.
And like, so like when someone you love goes through that, you then start to think about what would it be like if I lost
Mm-hmm.
my dad?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. He's like the person I go to. Like
Yeah.
when I have questions, when I need answers for something, like I call my dad. I
Yeah.
text my dad. And so I think with that, you then, like you just said, it's easy to lose sight of that. It is also your parents' first time being parents.
Mm-hmm.
Like they haven't done this before.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's so easy in our culture with the way, like the current cultural climate of like healing and generational trauma and things like that get talked about so frequently, which I think is beautiful. The natural byproduct is we can blame our parents for what they did when we were kids, and some parents were not great, and
Mhm.
like I don't want to diminish that whatsoever.
Mhm.
But I think the flip side of like we can demonize parents who did their best, and we lose because like in hindsight we realize that it wasn't great, but we also have to give credit for like it was their first time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they were being a parent to a first kid or a second kid or a fourth kid the first time. They hadn't done it before. They didn't
Yeah.
have answers.
I think even in my experience, like it's just this idea that maybe you have learned something that they don't know yet,
Mm-hmm.
even though they were here before you
Sure.
and they did raise
Yep.
you. Like, and like the world's changing. So like financially,
Mhm.
like there are vehicles that can help secure wealth
Yeah.
that did not exist
Yep.
50 years ago.
Yep.
There are careers
Yeah.
that you could pursue that did not exist 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that's interesting for me that I'm navigating, where it's like, man, like, yeah, traditionally you
Mhm.
would have a job for 40 years and you'd retire and that would,
That's it.
but now I'm like, hey, we live in a digital world. There are digital opportunities.
Mhm.
And, growing up on a farm in southern Indiana where the Amish population greatly is the majority.
Really.
Yeah, for sure.
Shout out to the Amish.
Yeah.
They build great barns.
I mean, dude,
Amish country's a beautiful place.
huge part of like who I am. Like
Yeah.
I always like, that statement of being all things for all people. Like
Yeah.
growing up where I did in the industry that I then pursued, like it allows me to be this
Yeah.
creative but hardworking individual. But again, growing up that way, you are solidified to a way of operating
Yeah.
that is really hard to imagine that there's an alternative. And so what I mean by that is, 9 to 5, blue
Yeah.
collar. You work very hard.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah.
But, are there other vehicles that
Yeah.
you could work just as hard
Yeah.
that financially
Yeah.
are more rewarding?
You can lock yourself into a box because it's what's known. And I think like for you, like branching out is what I'm looking for, away from that. And now look at what you've accomplished. I mean, in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, like, dude, your website literally says you've worked with Spotify.
Mhm.
You literally just did a job with Nike.
Mhm.
You've worked with Bieber. You've worked with countless other brands that are like, we're not talking like a local mom and pop shop calls you and like household names. Like, didn't you do something with F1 somewhere along that?
Not F1, but IndyCar.
IndyCar. Okay.
Yeah. Good friends with Joseph.
So like in how much of that wouldn't have come if you don't take a step and take a risk on yourself and go
Mhm.
like, I'm going to move to a foreign land and take a leap and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I think, again, like we talked about it in the kitchen, but
Yeah.
when you have a clear understanding that your purpose is to love,
Mm-hmm.
then there is no ceiling to that.
Yeah.
So, I can say with honesty, like I really don't care about working with the brands or the
Yeah.
people. It is equally as important
Mm-hmm.
that we work with known name or unknown
Yep.
companies in Indiana and
Yep.
Kentucky and Ohio. And a lot of our success has been being that transparent
Yep.
to say, hey, like, you know, our third company that we started in 2019, Fuhs Creative, was an attempt to bridge the gap between the Fortune 500 businesses we've worked with and wildly successful businesses in middle America.
Yep.
Where it's like, hey, like, you deserve to be seen, you deserve
Yeah.
to be known, your product is great, your culture is incredible. We just want to put that on display.
Yep.
And
Which is so cool.
yeah, and I think like if our clarity on our purpose was not so significant to every decision we make, that would not be the route we took.
Yep.
And so I think we stand out because our purpose is actually the mission of our life.
Yeah.
And we actually pursue that.
Yeah.
And again, when we work with, you know, the bigger companies, that's cool.
Yeah.
And it's great. But I've said it time and time again, I think our most impactful company is our wedding business.
Really?
Because every wedding we get to shoot, like our guys, like it's like, hey, it's very clear. That's 300 people probably that we will never know.
Yep.
That we've never seen. And that's an opportunity for us to be a light in their life.
Absolutely,
you know?
dude.
On a big set,
Yeah.
it's probably 30, 40 crew members that you've worked
Your
with
audience
before.
you're reaching is so much greater. Yeah.
And it's like your audience is bigger digitally, but your opportunity
your
for
direct impact,
is minimal.
When the constant theme of, I think, you as a human being is you found your identity very early on. And you found like the foundational purpose for who you were supposed to be as a human very early. And so because you knew that, it is, I think, directly correlated to the success you've had, because you didn't move to LA at 20 floundering trying to and that's not a hit at anybody who does that. It's just like for you and your path, like you found, dude, you're what, 29, almost 30, and you've been a successful person by the standards of like business. Not, I think your success goes far beyond that, but when it comes to what you've accomplished monetarily, you know, and all of those things, you know, for the last almost 15 years, 16 years, I think is directly correlated because from 6 to 13, you had the unfortunate blessing of chasing something rooted in a false identity or trying to find false security. And you were able to learn a lesson very early that most people don't learn until they're in their 20s. You and I were just talking, like, it took me till almost 30 to learn that.
Most people go their whole life.
Right. Like, I mean, I told you, like, I spent 10 years chasing. And then never got what I thought I wanted. But what it got me was depression. And so I because of that, though, you're able to sit here and say, hey, like, I'm grateful, man, for what we've gotten to do. But at the same point in time, like, my identity isn't rooted in the jobs I've done or the names I've worked with. Like, it's so sick. And we've talked about that earlier of like how you've been able to maintain a level of normalcy, but also like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I get to do this, because the things you do are normal to you. And I think it's something that's like, that's so interesting to me about human beings as a whole, of like, every person's normal is different. And so what I view as not normal is your normal. But I think when we are, and I think I think you've answered this, because I asked you this earlier, and I think you've answered it through the course of this conversation, of how you've been able to take a step back and be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that this is my normal. But also this is my normal. It's because you're so rooted in your identity is so rooted and is so solid. Do you think that's accurate?
Yeah, I think my independent mission, I mean, again, purpose is to reflect love, but even going again, I point back to the book, because the book is the center of everything that I speak about. It's written.
I feel like it's the culmination of like the last 17 years of your life.
For sure. Yeah. It really is. Well, because again, like, I thought I was going to like die last year. So that's why it was created. But, you know, something I just like have kind of, because I had to really add language to what I'm trying to achieve. And the language that I've settled on is like, I don't want anyone to ask themselves why they are here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want people to, well, that's the main question most people ask.
Yep.
Like, hey, like, what is the purpose of my life?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I here?
Yeah.
And we dedicate decades
Mm-hmm.
to searching for why I'm here. And it's bold to say, but I say it regardless. Your purpose is to be a light.
Yeah.
Don't ever ask yourself that question again.
Dang.
Ever.
Yeah.
Like, you want to know who you are? That's who you are. You were created to evoke love.
Yep.
Period. Don't
Mhm.
ask that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because, and this is the quote that I've kind of been echoing, a life spent searching for purpose
Mm-hmm.
is not merely as impactful as a life spent living it.
Dang. Wow.
And I don't want people spending one more day
Yeah.
searching for an answer that I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And so to be so bold, reflect love.
Yeah.
Period. That's your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care your religion or if you believe in God or not, your purpose is to love.
Yeah.
If you do that, I think one day you're going to ask, well, who's the source of that?
Sure.
And then maybe you'll lead you to a person that I discovered named Jesus.
Yeah.
But that's the hope, you
Yeah.
know? And so I think, yeah, going on what has been a direct result for my life. And that's
Mhm.
why I found it to be so important to put it as a subtitle that, and it's controversial, but it's, you know, to dedicate your life to good
Mm-hmm.
and greatness will follow you.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that, again, I think it's chapter 19, but it's a thought from Erwin McManus that really painted a beautiful picture. But it's like we strive for things of this world
Yeah.
as a priority.
Yeah.
And so an example that I talk about in the book is like, imagine I said that like, this is a good cup of coffee and that's a great cup
Mm-hmm.
of coffee. Well, which one's better? Probably the great.
Yeah.
Right? Inherently, that's where our mind goes.
Yep.
But good and great actually are not one and two.
Yeah.
They're actually two separate words. And so good is grounded in essence, while great is grounded in achievement.
Dang.
And so when we say good and great, it's like, I don't want to end the rest of my life and say, oh, like Blaine achieved greatness. He did all these things. He acquired all these assets, whatever they may be.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to say, oh, Blaine was grounded in goodness, not
Right.
greatness. And what I have experienced, and so I can speak so confidently on,
Mm-hmm.
is that, because most people, here's the truth, unfortunately, they will achieve a level of material success in a bad way.
Yeah.
They get there in a bad way.
Hmm.
And then they realize that this isn't the point of life and they pivot to being a good person.
Wow.
I can
Have you
say,
encountered that?
for sure, I think
Yeah.
we all can point to people,
Yeah.
like business owners, pastors, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
you know?
Encountered people along the way. What different avenues?
And it's like, I that is tough to speak on. And so
Mhm.
I think the thing that I've been really fortunate on, and I think it's a reason why I have to speak up on it,
Yeah.
is that I think I've done it in the right way.
Yeah.
And I have seen the fruit of that.
Yeah.
And that's a rare thing where people can say they've devoted their life to loving others
Yep.
and they have financial security.
Mm-hmm.
They have worked with notable companies.
Mm-hmm.
And I can honestly say that was never the goal.
Yeah.
Like the goal was to love. And when your goal is to love solely, the best version of you comes to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going to work harder.
For
You're
sure.
going to be more authentic. You're going to offer things that actually are solutions, not money vehicles for your company to profit.
Yeah.
And in return, greatness follows you.
Mm-hmm.
And so like the end of that chapter, I talk about like, I would like to assume or hope that, you know, again, people might look at my life and say, oh, look, it's great.
Yeah.
You know, like what you've
Right.
done is great. But independently, I know that that grounding was rooted in being good.
Mm.
Like that pursuit, the result of my life was
Right.
in a desire to be as good as I can, to love as well as I could.
Well, and that is wild. Not wild's not the right word. I think it's profound because naturally speaking, like we don't want to just be good. But I think where you were able to learn for you, like you were reframing what it means to be good versus what it means to be great, I think is very impactful. And I mean, thanks for sharing that, dude.
Yeah.
I think that's so beautiful. And I mean, I would agree with you that I think you are a good person.
Yeah.
And I do think that greatness is followed.
Yeah.
And I just like, it's so astounding to me that what you experienced as a kid and preteen prepared you earlier to experience, to like come to the realization of that at a younger age, of being a good person, being a person of love. So man, thanks for sharing who you are. I mean, and I think that is in a nutshell. And I mean, I know we haven't specifically talked about the book as much, but I know that is something like that you're super passionate about right now. And I say right now, I think the book quantifies and clarifies what you've been passionate about for 15 years, you know? And I know that's kind of like what you've been able to share more very specifically now. I mean, dude, you just did a TED Talk on it.
Different topic, actually.
Really?
Yeah, different topic for the TED Talk.
Okay.
Because the tough part, so like for the last decade, I've given a keynote in private.
Yeah.
That is the book.
Okay.
And the end of the keynote that I give, the talk is called "Your Platform's Not Your Purpose."
Yep.
And so the goal is like when I enter businesses or I enter just entrepreneurial spaces or even like colleges is a big focus for me right now.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a critical part of our lives. And so colleges, even high school, it's just like, hey, I want to paint this picture that, again, you're created to evoke goodness into this world.
Yeah.
Where can you do that?
Yeah.
In a career, it's like maybe your business isn't actually, that's not your top goal.
Yeah.
You know, maybe your goal is, unfortunately, and I get it, is to profit.
Yep.
But what could it look like if it was like to reach people? You would probably see these metrics that you're aiming for come into fruition.
Yeah.
And so anyway, like I've spoken this, your platform's not your purpose, for a long time. And of the last year when I got sick, it was just kind of like, hey, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this ever again.
Yeah.
And so I sat down and I said, you know, I'm going to put down, like I couldn't walk for 4 months.
Yeah.
So I was bedridden for 4 months. And during that time, lost 35 pounds. It was a pretty bad place health-wise.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm going to put the messages that I've shared into the format that is this book. And so I wrote 2 chapters a day. Or I wrote a chapter every 2 days.
Okay.
And ended up creating 24 chapters, which
Wow.
is the book. And, you know, it's so cool too, because in the creation process of the book, I did not know how many chapters, nor did I know the order. But I knew how I would start it and I knew how I was going to finish it.
Okay.
And so I wrote on my phone the messages that I've known or I've seen to impact people. And I would just wake up and I would literally write it on my phone.
No way.
The message. And then after I got the whole thing done, then I did it in Google Doc. And then I sent it to 12 very diverse close friends of mine.
Yeah.
And I asked them in the order I wrote it. I said, take a look at it and let me know 3 things you like and 3 things you hate.
Okay.
And my 2 atheist friends in the middle said, it seems to get a little redundant. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, I wonder why. And then I went back and looked at it. And what I did without realizing it is that the first half of the book, I was just like very euphorical of like, hey, here's what a life grounded in love might look like.
Yeah.
But in the second half of the book, I went more like, hey, if you don't understand at this point, I'm going to tell you exactly what I was talking about in the first half.
Okay.
And it was redundant for the atheists because they were like, you're just hammering this idea of love in, but in different ways.
Yeah.
And so the only change that I made during the creation of the book was I defined that there's a part 1 and a part 2.
Okay.
So part 1's called How We Arrived.
Yep.
So it's just kind of painting this picture of how we've landed on purpose, kind of what we talked about in this podcast.
Yeah.
Part 2 is where we go now.
Yeah.
And so like I've identified 4 points that I say of living a life on purpose.
Okay.
Step 1 is accept your purpose.
Yep.
Which is like, you know, most people are like, it's very elusive.
Yeah.
We hear phrases like, let me help you discover your purpose or uncover or find.
Yeah.
I'm like, accept. Your purpose is to be a light.
Yep.
Don't look for it anymore. Right? After you've done that, find skills that make you unique. Like, what about you is uniquely your own? Like
Yeah.
for me, like working hard work, like dedication was a characteristic. Storytelling was another characteristic. Video
Mhm.
allowed those characteristics to thrive.
Mhm.
And so step 2 of living a purposeful life is finding the things about you that are uniquely your strengths.
Yeah.
Find them. You have them, figure out what they are. You might not know. Write them
Yeah.
down. Once you identify them, step 3 is to figure out the platform that allow those skills to thrive.
Yeah.
You know, is it finance? Is it healthcare? Is it
Yeah.
creative? Like, where is the platform that will allow who you are to be on full display?
Okay.
That's step 3.
Okay.
Step 4 is the most important. Pursue your people.
Wow.
You know, you've accepted your purpose. You
Yep.
figured out what makes you unique. You found the platform that allows those things to thrive. Pursue your people.
Dang.
You know, there are people, I'll get like choked up even talking about it, but it's like there are people in your life who are waiting for you.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of times when I end like my message, you know, I say, don't wait for them anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like find them. Like, are you actively living a life pursuing the people that are waiting for you? Because there's a void in this earth until you step into your place.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I don't want to spoil it, but there's this image of what I imagine like the end of our lives look like.
Mhm.
And I guess I'll kind of say it. I imagine like, I typically don't, but I won't actually. It's the end of the book. Read the book, get the book. But there's a moment that's just like, I think it really just paints a clear picture.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the moment we are chasing for our
Wow.
lives. And so anyway, I speak so passionately on it because it is, I think, the most important thing.
Yeah.
And it's been cool to kind of like speak that
Yeah.
into, you know, just lives.
Yeah.
Because now I'm healthier.
Yep.
And so now I'm starting to speak more publicly.
Yeah.
And so to kind of go back into the TED Talk, what the theme for that event was icons, mavericks, and geniuses.
Okay.
And I didn't really love the word maverick. I was like, you know, it's a challenger type, and it's cool.
Mhm.
And I would probably be categorized as a maverick,
Oh,
but
for sure you would.
but
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want
It's
to
like
speak on that.
you've like, aside from like knowing your identity, you've literally lived your entire life to be different.
Which I mean, like, I'm for. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
Dude,
for.
but I think that is what like characterizes what makes you such a genius as a human is that you are the embodiment of different.
Yeah.
Not just like because you're different, but like I think that everything you do is to walk into a room, whether inherently or accidentally, but is to be the difference maker in every room you walk into.
Yeah.
So like respectively,
Yeah.
you're a man.
And that's not, yeah, like, that may not be for everyone.
No, I
you
know. No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
But it was like that was like maverick, and then icon was the other word, and I was like, oh, icon's kind of like idol to me, and I was like, I don't like that word. But genius,
Yeah.
I was like, you know, I could speak on that.
Yeah.
And typically I say all that because at the end of my book, it is faith centered.
Sure.
I just
Yeah, but that's part of who you are.
yeah. I'm basically saying this is where these ideas come from.
Yeah.
Is Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm not pushy on the faith because
Yeah.
I know it's just not attractive. But I'm just like, hey, all these concepts, it's Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, at a TED Talk, you can't talk about God.
Yeah.
You can't talk about politics. And you can't talk about product.
Okay.
And so I was like, I couldn't talk about the book.
Yeah.
Or the message of the book.
Yeah.
So genius was the theme.
Okay.
And I'd never given the talk before. And like, funny enough, like I think it was like a month or two ago, I was in LA for production the whole week. Friday night, we finished filming the TED Talk. Saturday in Indiana. I take a red eye. I'd never given the talk, didn't practice the talk.
And you're going to give a TED Talk, which is a big deal.
Yeah, it was a cool, great setup. Like it was an incredible event. But I was landing and there were tornadoes in Indiana. So we hovered above the tornadoes for 3 hours, did an emergency landing in Detroit. I got rerouted eventually, didn't get into Indiana until like 3 a.m. Slept for a couple hours, woke up at 6, gave the talk to myself on my buddy's porch for the first time, went to the event, gave the talk in the green room to myself a second time, and then went on stage. But the theme of the talk is just like distinguishing modern genius from the origin.
Okay.
And so in today's age, we
Mhm.
would say modern geniuses an Einstein or a
Okay.
Picasso or a Socrates.
Okay.
And the reason we do that is because we look at these individuals
Mhm.
because they have achieved high levels of humanity
Yeah.
in the way that they think, in the way that they create, in the way that they live.
Yeah.
But, and have you listened to the TED Talk?
No, I've seen clips
Okay,
you
okay,
posted, but I haven't listened to the whole
cool.
thing
I just
yet.
didn't know if I was like redundant
No,
if
no,
you
no,
know
no, no,
this.
no. Say it. I'm good with it.
But, basically we look at people that have done incredible things
Yeah.
and we label them this term of genius.
Mhm.
But if you go back to when the word genius was created, the original definition was that there's a divine within you
Okay.
that guides your path.
Really?
Drastically different than our modern understanding.
Yeah.
Not you will be incredible, not that you'll
Yeah.
be unique.
Yeah, not that you're like this highly accomplished pioneer.
Yes,
Which I think is how we often define genius.
absolutely. Someone
Yeah.
who's done something new at a high level.
Yep.
But really, it's a divine within you that guides your path.
Wow.
And so the thing that I really wanted to just make clear is that although we assume that genius is beyond us,
Mhm.
that it's something that one day we'll get to,
Mhm.
truthfully, genius is already within you.
Yep.
And it's begging you to accept the calling that
Wow.
is your life.
Mhm.
And, I go through and I show like some like credible charts that kind of like talk about like the use of the word genius and like,
Okay.
I won't go into the topic of our conversation today, but if you guys want to check it out, Blaine Fuhs, and then just search TED Talk, it'll pop up.
Fuhs.
Fuhs. But
Dude, unrelated.
Yeah.
I spelled your name Blyne for like
Yeah,
the first like
that's kind of sick.
it's kind of fire. And then one day Tori was like, I don't know what I did, but she's like, his name is literally wrong in your phone. I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like, there's no way it's with a Y. She's like, no, it's not.
I love it. I might do that. I mean, that's cool, dude.
Dude, if you change the spelling of your name at 29 to Blayne,
I mean, dude, that could be sick on the signature.
that'd be kind of fun.
But anyway, dude, like I think like the talk went incredible, but my favorite thing was at the end. Probably the part that you saw was like the part that it was on social.
Yeah.
Where it was like we define genius, we give
Okay.
examples of genius,
Mhm.
but like now we're at a critical point where you have to decide,
Mhm.
like, will I live a life that reflects the genius that is me?
Okay.
Right. Well, what I loved about it, how I ended the talk, I was just kind of like honest with the book. I was like, like this past year. So I'm actually at 28, and I was like, on my way home for my 28th birthday, I was sick,
Mhm.
and I just finished the book,
Mhm.
and my friend asked me this question. She was like, if you could go back and relive any day in your life, like what day would that be? And I thought for a moment, and then I said, you know what, I wouldn't, because the best is yet to come.
Dang.
And I'll probably get choked up even on this one, but it's like I gave an answer to a question that, to be honest with you, like I didn't yet believe. Like I didn't believe that the best was yet. Like I thought
Wow.
I was dying.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But that's something that we have to convince ourselves
Yeah.
that like the best hasn't yet to come.
Mhm.
That like although your life may be incredible, although you may have done incredible things, that
Yeah.
like the moment you think that the best is behind you is the day that it will be.
Wow.
And so, at the end of the TED Talk, the thing that I was stoked that literally that as I was walking on stage, I put together was I was like, the original definition of genius is that
Mhm.
there's a divine within you, right?
Mhm.
That's trying to guide your path.
Yeah.
But the divine within you, his name is love.
Wow.
And so I found a good way to like loop God in
Yeah.
without
Kind of loop
saying
got
it.
in without saying God.
100%. But I'm like the divine within you that's trying to guide your path, its name is love.
Wow.
And the one singular question it's asking is, will you follow me?
Yeah. Dang.
And I think that's so true where it's like, man, when you do that,
Mhm.
and this is how I end the TED Talk, but like when you accept, and it's purpose.
Yeah.
I'm in a weird way, I'm saying the same topic of book, but calling
Yeah.
it genius.
For sure.
The day that, again, you answer the call of
Mhm.
like living out a life that reflects love,
Yeah.
like the divine within you, the love within you.
Yeah.
Once you say like, that's the life I'm going to live, impact becomes your mission.
Yeah.
Like impact becomes the mission of your life. Like the day that love becomes the focus of your decisions,
Mhm.
the pillar of your life, impact becomes your mission.
Yeah.
And when impact becomes your mission, genius is your outcome.
Wow.
It's not incredible, it's
Yeah.
not notable, but it's just who you should
Yep.
be.
Yep.
And so that's kind of the premise of the TED Talk, which is pushing the same message.
Yeah.
But it was cool.
Dang, dude, that's so sick.
Yeah.
That's so cool that you got the opportunity to do that, man. I'm so grateful you came on to share so much of who you are and how you've become who you are. But I want to end on a little lighter note. And I think this whole podcast episode can be and will be encouraging to people that are struggling with, their identity. But I like to end every episode the same way with a little segment I like to call I Said What I Said. Okay. All this segment is an opportunity for me to publicly share all of the outrageous hot takes that I've had for a long time. But before I give mine, I've given mine first in like every episode so far. I need you to give me, and it can be outlandish. I'm good with outlandish. My hot takes tend to be outlandish.
You take lead because
you want me to go first? Okay. This is a topic I'm very passionate about. And I'd forgotten I was passionate about it until I saw it the other day.
Yeah.
If you are ranking a coffee shop, okay? First of all, I rank coffee shops on 3 things.
Okay.
Environment, so like an aesthetic of a shop,
Mhm.
quality of coffee, and parking. And you can't begin the conversation of a good coffee shop if one of those 3 things is off, okay?
Yeah.
But if you are ranking a coffee shop and you're saying it is higher than a 5 because of their lattes or their mixed drinks, your opinion isn't valid.
Delete.
It's just not, like, you cannot highly rank a coffee shop that does not have good black coffee. And I'll go a step further. If you are a coffee shop and you don't make pour overs,
Mhm.
And now granted, this is me being a coffee snob, and I don't claim to not be one. I am a massive coffee snob. But if you don't make pour overs, okay, this is a true story. This is a God honest true story. I had a running joke with a couple buddies for a long time because every time I would go to a coffee shop in town for a while, they would say something to me and like just reveal that they were just a little full of it. Okay.
Mhm.
One time a coffee shop looked at me and I said, "What do you have on pour over?" They're like, "Oh, we don't have pour over." I'm like, "Okay." And they followed it up by saying, "But our drip's better than every pour over you'll have in town." Fundamentally, that's not right. Like from a science perspective, a pour over is like the purest form of black coffee that you can get.
Mhm.
Another one told me one time that they brew their coffee at 212 because it extracts better flavor. Okay, scientifically speaking, that's not true. Anything over 206 scolds the beans, you lose the flavor. Another coffee shop told me one time, this is it. All of these things are true, Blaine. Another coffee shop told me one time that like I bought a bag of their beans
Mhm.
and it was like an expensive bag of beans because it was like kind of rare, hard to get, whatever,
Yeah,
which is great. I'm fine with that. But it was like a 35-day-old roast. And science says that after 30 days, you start to lose like the flavor of the coffee. Like the fresher the roast, typically speaking, the better the bean. Like not necessarily like day of, but pretty close to it. The better the quality.
Yeah.
They said, "Oh, our coffee's like wine. The further from roast you get, the better it gets." I'm like, that's not science, bro. So all of that to say, I clearly am like wildly passionate about this topic.
Hate me. I'm like Starbucks and like White Bison. It's like
Shout out White Bison. I used to love you until I realized that you were gas station coffee.
I love the
But
I love the $1. I love the price.
yeah, shout out $1 coffee from White Bison. But genuinely, if you're a coffee shop and you don't have pour over, I don't think you can be ranked above an 8.
I mean,
That's my hot take. Like
you seem to know what you're talking about.
if you don't have good black coffee, you can't be ranked above a 5. I saw this thing the other day. What reminded me is I saw someone on a social media platform ranking coffee shops in town.
Yeah.
And they said something like, "This is a 10 of 10." And I'm like, "Are you drinking lattes? Because if you're drinking lattes, I'm out on your opinion. Respectfully."
Yeah.
But you know who has the best latte in town?
Yeah.
Living Waters.
Yeah, you said that. I need to look into that.
Dude, Living Waters is the best coffee shop in
What's the
Nashville.
price? How much do they cost?
Dude, I think their vanilla latte is like $4.50 maybe. Like a pour over is more expensive, which like I expect. Like their drip's probably around $4 or $5. I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Even their drip is insane. It's not better than pour overs, but it's a great drip.
Yeah.
All right. I need you.
Local
I'm just
shit.
listen. They house make their Living Waters. I want you to sponsor the podcast. That's what I'm getting at. But like I also what we drank today when I made at the house is from Deep Roots coffee. That's what I brew at the house.
Mm.
Living Waters doesn't roast their own beans, but they do make the best coffee in Nashville. But Deeper Roots, shout out Adam Shaw. Adam, if you're listening to this, I love you very much. Yeah, Deeper Roots, you can also sponsor the podcast. If we just become a podcast sponsored by coffee shops and roasters, I'm okay with it. I just want to make that known.
Great intro.
But Living Waters is the best. They house make their vanilla syrup for their lattes, and it's unbelievable.
Sounds pretty good.
It's so good. All right, to finish us off, I need your hot take right now.
Dang, bro. Honestly, I don't even know if I have a hot take. I think that's not like life oriented. It's just
it doesn't have to be life oriented. It can be ridiculous.
Well, I mean, I don't have a ridiculous. I probably have life oriented hot take. You know, I think
I'm fine with it.
Simply said, probably just like in the root of all of our conversation.
Yeah.
Life is not as complex as we pretend it to be. You know.
Yeah.
Like we overcomplicate it. And
we talked about that a little earlier.
Yeah, like I mean, it's life is actually simple if you ground it in love.
Yep.
And I think like my one like sentence would probably be like to stop increasing the levels required for you to have a good life.
Dang.
That's so common. You know, like we have such a high floor. Like, you know, no offense, but it's like I have to have this.
I have to be this to be successful or have a good life.
Anything.
Yep.
It's like no offense, but it's like I have to have like this level of coffee.
Okay.
Or like
now
it's a hot take.
That's the end of the podcast because Blaine came after me.
Not you.
No, I'm just kidding.
But you know, it's like this is the clothes I have to wear.
Okay, I want to be honest with you. If you're trying to get me to drink Folgers, respectively,
no, enjoy
I'm not
life.
Gonna drink
enjoy
Folgers.
life. Enjoy life. Enjoy life.
I do have a high barrier of entry to enjoy
life.
coffee.
Just everything.
No, I know. No, I do know what you mean, and I think that's very valid though. Yeah. We do make the barrier of entry of a good life very high at times, and we complicate it so much. Well, man,
it was a hot take.
No, that I mean, you triggered me a little bit. Like,
okay.
Now my blood's boiling.
Shoot,
dude! Thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate it. It means the world, and it's fun to sit here and talk for a while. So, this has been episode 4 of Deepish. Blaine, where can they get your book?
Amazon and TikTok, but Amazon's
shout out TikTok Shop.
TikTok Shop.
Let's go.
Trying to do that. But.
Well, go get his new book. Your platform is your purpose.
It's not. It's not your purpose.
That's what I said.
Your platform.
Your platform is not your purpose. That's what I meant to say. Your platform's not your purpose, Blaine. Thanks so much for coming on, man. Episode 4 of Deepish. This has been it.
Great.
That was episode 4 with my friend Blaine Fuhs. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you enjoyed hearing from him and learning a little bit more about his story and his life. Make sure you go support Blaine, Fuhs Creative. Go buy his book. I think it is still on TikTok Shop or anywhere. Search it. And if you want it on more platforms, make sure to tag him in the comments and let him know so that you can read it. Again, so grateful that he stopped by and sat down with me to share more of his story and how he has become who he is in life and in his journey. So if you are enjoying the podcast, make sure to like, subscribe, follow us on social media, comment, share it, send it to a friend so we can continue to get great guests and have great episodes. So I hope you have a safe and happy new year. We will see you back next week for episode 5.